I never know what day it is. I found out it's Wednesday today. How are you, people? We are live on the D. It is EC Radio time. You can follow along on all Disruption Network social media platforms. Shout out to my sponsors. When you're ready to move and relocate, hit up my guys over at EJA Moving Service. They are reputable. They're fine, outstanding young men. They wear back braces. They wear masks. They say, ma'am, sir, and they'll move you pretty much wherever you need to go. And they give you free boxes. They give you free boxes. They pack up your boxes, and they take them wherever you need to go. Give them a call today at 315-335-0516, EJAmoving.com. Tell them Uncle Z sent you. Also, a shout out to my attorney, Dave Longaretta. Give him a call if you need legal help, 315-735-6162. Thank you to Utica Coffee. I got the blueberry roast going today, the Wake the Hell Up, and it's high octane, so shout out to my friends over at Utica Coffee, wakethehellup.com. Shout out to Saranac Brewery, and Joey's over at Mohawk Street. Joey's at 307. You want a delicious meal this week, go see my friend Matt Grabsky and get yourself a good meal over at Joey's. Jojo, I've been wanting to do this for a while, baby. I have. I've talked to you about this before.
Yes, you have.
When are you going to come do a podcast with me?
I'm so shy. I didn't.
Come on, you're shy. We get together, we're like two little schoolgirls.
Yes. That's true.
It's great to see you. Thank you for taking the time to come hang with me today.
You're welcome.
Let's start in the beginning.
Okay.
Because Tinies, to me, is like an institution in Utica. It is. You walk in there, there's a shrine. You can see all the old hockey players from the Stars and the Comets. And then, of course, you're synonymous with your nutcrackers. That gets national exposure pretty much every year, the collection of nutcrackers that you have. To me, Tiny should be on the national preservation.
Thank you.
It should be. I'm telling you. So take me from the beginning. Like, where does Tiny start? How does it begin? Take me through your whole journey with it.
Well, first of all, I was working in baseball, okay, and that was, my love of my life was baseball, and the second love of my life was restaurant, okay, and bar, which I frequented quite often. So there I was in baseball and having a wonderful time and having a wonderful career when all of a sudden the opportunity to own a restaurant bar came up, and I took it. And I thought I could do both. But they didn't cross over. I couldn't do that. So in 1990, I officially ended my baseball career and started my second career, which was the restaurant and bar. And that was the beginning of me and Tinies.
So 1990.
1990.
All right, let's back up even further because you're talking about your baseball career. You were the general manager of the Blue Sox for a while.
Yes, I was. I was general manager I came back to Utica in 82. And I was general manager from 83 to 90.
What's that like, running a baseball team?
Well, the thing is, it was a minor league baseball team. It was at the lowest level that you can get, which was a short season A, and with the New York Penn League at the time was short season A baseball, and I think Pioneer League was the short season A league also, and that was the lowest you can get, the shortest season, etc. And besides all that, we were independent. So when I got there, it was an independent Utica Blue Sox. I could back that up. And I think about it. I worked for the Blue Jays for a couple of summers.
For Toronto?
Yeah.
Did you work in Toronto?
I worked for Utica.
Okay.
I worked for Utica.
And that was like the late 70s,
that
right?
That was 1977.
Okay.
And I came back up I was in Florida, and I came back up and I worked for them, trying to get into baseball, and did a few other things down at Fort Lauderdale Yankees prior to that, and then finally worked my way back to Utica.
Time out. You worked for the Yankees?
I worked for the Fort Lauderdale Yankees.
Did you really?
Spring training, we used to go to watch the guys.
What was your job over there?
I was in ticket sales. I was on the phones. Back then, you were like, you dialed phones and you called people. Hi, this is Joanne. Well, I didn't. My phone name was Joanne Evans because I'd say it was Joanne Gerace, and they're like, who? What? What'd you say your name was? So I said, hi, this is Joanne Evans from the Fort Lauderdale Yankees, and would sell them a promotion and tickets and all that for us for special nights. And I worked downstairs in the stadium in Fort Lauderdale, at the Lockhart Stadium, and it was great. And then, like when spring training was there, got to meet a lot of players.
This is 1977. You see everybody back then. These are World Series champs back then.
Yeah, I got to see over the and I worked there a few seasons, and so I got to see, big leaguers like, well, I could back it up to '73 when I first moved to Fort Lauderdale, when I would see like guys like Hal Lanier and players like that, playing, which was, that was a long time ago. But when I was working for them, I met like, Reggie Jackson and, guys like, from other teams, and, Tommy John and Al Rabowski from Kansas City. And it just goes on and on. I mean, there were so many players, and it was so exciting because, there you are working for this club, and then you see these guys in person, and I was all starstruck because I only watched it on TV.
Yeah,
what did I know? I'm just seeing everybody on TV, so everybody's a star, when you watch them on TV. But,
Did you turn into fangirl? Have you ever had that fangirl moment? Like you just turn into the ultimate fangirl, like
no.
Yeah. You got to maintain that level of professionalism too,
Absolutely.
especially when you're working for that organization.
Absolutely, it'd be really cool. But boy, it was exciting. It really was, and I was excited to get autographs and the whole bit, So, but working, we were back in Utica now.
Okay, let's go back to Utica.
Okay, so we go back to Utica, and we're an independent team, which I don't know. There's no affiliation, and I'm kind of there and in charge. And I was in charge of everything: the field, the players, the housing, the hot dog stand, anything related to that operation, I was in charge of. Okay, and I was green as heck. I didn't, and we were so in the hole because, at the time we had Rolodexes, for references.
Explain to the kids what those are.
A Rolodex. It's a spinning wheel of index cards, and index cards are these little things like this that had names and addresses and contacts on it into a wheel that you would spin in alphabetical order. And I remember going through the Rolodex, and I mean there was like I couldn't get any advertising, anybody to spend any money, and finally I worked up to doing pretty well with that, and and selling the advertising and the tickets and getting people in the ballpark and putting the program together. And the players would come in from this guy Van Schley had Texas Star Baseball, it was, and he would, and at the time he would contract these players, and he would bring them to Utica to play and hopefully get them sold, get them to other to major league clubs. Okay, and that's how that worked with the independent. And so that first year I was there was really, it was really hairy. I mean, it was, he had to get the fence signs done, and Murnane Field was a mess. And, the third base dugout, I used to call it Freddie Flintstone's garage because that's what it looked like. It was a slab of concrete on top of cement bricks. I mean, it was just, Murnane Field was awful.
Yeah.
It really was. In '77 when the Blue Jays came, it was pretty bad, but then it just never was, wasn't properly maintained, and and that's why the Jays left, and then it was nothing. So there we were. There I was doing that, and I got promoted the next year to GM, and that was in the '83 season. That's the year that we won. We won the New York Penn League Championship, which was, no one wanted us to win that. No one. Believe me when I tell you, the Little Falls Mets, the Mets organization did not want us to win that. And the league president didn't want to hand me the trophy. Because we were independent.
And there's a book written about that.
Oh,
season.
absolutely. It's good. Yeah. It's called Good Enough to Dream, titled by me. And Roger Kahn was the author. And Roger had, come in for the season. And I met Roger at a league meeting in Geneva, New York. And this was before the '83 season. We were at our league meetings, and all the GMs of all the teams in the Penn League. And Roger came as a guest, saying that he had been in Columbus, Georgia, with the Mets team down there to write a book. And because Doubleday, who was the publisher of the book, owned the Mets franchise down there. So that's why Roger went down there. It was supposed to be a perfect situation. Well, he didn't get along with the management, and so he left. And then he came up to our meeting to see if he could find a team that might, need an investor. Well, I almost like knocked him down, I looked at him and I go, "What'd you think of coming to Utica?" And he said, "Yeah, absolutely." So, long story short, Roger comes to Utica, to write the book. And it was basically a Cinderella year because we won the championship under the most, I mean, nobody wanted us to win. So the whole story is something that's almost unbelievable because it's just one of those fairy tale stories it's an absolutely true story that happened. And I should write my own book on it.
You should.
And I want to. You know anybody that would help me write that book?
I
Because
do.
I've got a million stories, and they're all great, and they really are. And that was quite a season. The following season, unfortunately, that group of investors had left. Roger had left. We're coming on, off of the championship team. And in minor league baseball, the team leaves. Mm-hmm. It's not the same team that comes back. It's a whole other bunch of guys. And at the time, the owner of the franchise in Utica wanted to leave. I mean, he said, "That's it. I'm done. We're not. If we play the season out because we have no place else to go right now with this franchise, we'll play in Utica. But you're not going to get any money backing you up. So we're going to have the worst players, unfortunately.
What was the parent club at the time?
None.
There was none at all?
No, I was still unaffiliated,
wow.
Yeah. So we kind of got like, did we get some of those? I'm trying to think of when, boy, oh boy, this has been a while. I'm trying to think of when Larry Walker played for us because we got some players.
That was late 80s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we were still independent when Larry Walker came to play with us.
Okay.
And that could have been 84. Yes, it was 84. So we had like Larry Walker and a couple other guys that were loaned to us from these other teams. One guy it was Larry Walker from Montreal.
Just became a Hall of Famer.
I know. He was the best guy in the world, I'll tell you. He used to always help me. He taught me how to bunt.
He taught you how to bunt?
Yeah.
Larry Walker taught you how to bunt?
Yeah. Larry Walker remembers when I hit that home run over the left field wall, too, because, yeah. I love the kid, okay? So when I put a big thing up on Facebook and everything. When he got inducted, I went crazy. I got in touch with him, and I was, like, going crazy over it. So proud of him, so happy for him. And he's a great, great guy. Big hunk, big athlete, not pushy, nice as can be, played his heart out even though he was really like rehabbing because I think he had hurt his shoulder.
Mm-hmm. I feel bad he got screwed with COVID. Him and Jeter, they go in together and they don't even really get this induction ceremonies that they deserve.
I'm wondering what they're going to do about that. I haven't really kept up on that, so I don't know whether they're...
I think they're putting both classes together this year. Okay. And it's just going to be friends and family type of thing, and it's like not really many people in the audience.
Well, there'll be a lot of people out in the streets, so
no, for sure.
It's going to be if you want to go to the Hall of Fame for that, you might as well park at the cider mill, park at the empty parking lot at the cider mill, unfortunately, and walk into Cooperstown because it's going to be jam-packed and it's going to be wonderful.
When you were running the team, were you the only woman that was a GM in the league?
Yeah, I was the only woman GM in baseball.
In baseball, what was that like? I mean. The abuse, did they abuse you? I mean, verbal abuse, sexual abuse? I mean...
That's from my book.
All right. Not for this podcast.
Honestly?
Yeah.
All of the above.
All of the above, of course.
Very, very difficult. When I was in Alexandria, I worked for the Pirates in Alexandria. I forgot, on my way up to Utica. Mm-hmm. That was very difficult.
Yeah.
I got really there. And, and like in Alexandria... we were co-opted with Baltimore and Pittsburgh, mostly Pittsburgh players, and you saw the movie Bull Durham. Mm-hmm. Well, that's that league. Okay, that was the Carolina League, supposedly. Okay, and the Suns were up in Fredericksburg. I think that's where they were. But anyhow, that was who was playing that was Darryl Strawberry was playing for Kinston Mets then. And he was out on our field at Alexandria, and my trainer came over to me and he goes, "See that guy over there in right field?" He says, "He'll be in the bigs next year." And that was Strawberry. So I can't wait to meet Straw again and remind him of that I was there when he played in the minors, that one season. But there was quite a few players that came out of the Carolina League that made it big. Quite a few. Yeah, and that was pretty neat. But so then you're in Utica with, So we made the best of it, 84. We did. We had a great time, and like I say, with Larry Walker and that bunch. But we were the, the lowest team in the league. I mean, we're a mess. And at the time, it was the guy that owned the Durham Bulls owned us, and he said, "That's it, we're done." You know.
Yeah, he pulled the plug.
He pulled the plug, and I was like at the league meeting begging the league not to allow him to move the franchise. And actually, you know, I was friends with all them guys for all these years, and you know, they said to me, "Do you want us to vote for the move?" And I said, so they didn't vote for the move. So there was a franchise in Utica, and that's when the 1985 guys came in, and they purchased that, and we operated in '85. And
was there a parent club back then too, or still independent?
Well, in '85, we were supposed to be with the Yankees. They were going to move out of Oneonta and come up to Utica. Well, that didn't happen. And then we had a shot with, I don't know if it was the Mets. I forgot who, to be honest with you. And nothing. So what happened again? Another bust there. Another, basically, a team that we had to put together. So my owner said to me, "What in the heck are we supposed to do here?" And I said, we got to get a big name in here, okay? Because at the winter meetings, prior to that season, I was telling everybody that, you know, we're going to get a new ballpark in Utica, and that's why I didn't want the franchise to leave, and that's why I begged the owners, you know, of the other team not to approve the move, because Utica was going to build a ballpark. Well, prove it. Give me proof. Well, it was just me, okay, me against the world, because I didn't have any proof. I was nothing. All I did was, you know, I was in meetings and stuff. I'm not an owner. I had nothing to do with it. But Renee Field, long story short, did get renovated. As a matter of fact, I even was talking with, you know, they had the Fair Play scoreboard. It was the brand newest scoreboard, and you know, that was ever going to happen. And it was Miller Lite was going to advertise it. As long as we had Miller Lite on the top of the scoreboard, they were going to give it to us for free. Okay, so the guy comes up from Fairtron scoreboard after the winter meetings. It's in February. I meet him up at Renee Field. We got the blueprint. It's snowing and windy, and we got the blueprints laying over the car. And he's like, "Well, where's the scoreboard going?" And I go, "It's going right there. That's where the scoreboard's going to be. It's going to be, because that's, you know, when we move the field, that's exactly where the scoreboard's going to be." He goes, "Okay." He goes, "Once I sign this," he said, "that's where the scoreboard's going to be." He said, "So you better hope that the field is renovated, or you're going to have the most gorgeous scoreboard in the league sitting on second base." So we did get it renovated. We did get all that. But if you remember Miller Lite, the commercial with Ken Brett. Okay, so Ken Brett was invited to Utica.
That's right.
Ken Brett was invited to Utica in 1984.
He was the coach at the time, right?
Well, no. In 1984, he was out of baseball, but the mayor of Utica invited him to a luncheon in Utica, and I was invited to it also because I represented baseball. I was out of a job, but I represented baseball, and we're over at Molly McGee's. It was in the Boston store. This is how far back it was. And we sat there next to each other, me and Kenny Brett. So, I mean, he was cool. You know, I was like, "Hey, you know, how we doing?" And, you know, everything was cool. And I'm just sitting there, and he says to me, "Oh, so you're the GM in Utica?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Well, can you get me a job?" And I looked at him, I go, your brother is George Brett, and you're asking me to get you a job?" And he started laughing, I laughed, and, you know, ha, 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 and then, you know, we all parted our ways. So in '85, when we didn't get the Yankees and we didn't get the teams that we wanted and we needed something there, my owner says to me, "What do we do?" And I said, "We're going to call Ken Brett, and he'll be our manager, and that'll make us, you know." And sure enough, that happened. So we got Kenny Brett down and all that, and that was wonderful. And
did his name pack the seats?
He definitely was a draw.
Yeah.
And that year also was a threat of a major league strike again, okay? So we didn't give anyone the number 5 jersey on the Blue Sox, okay? Because we held it just in case there was a strike, because then George would come and coach third base, and he'd have his number 5 uniform, because that's what Brett's number was. So, but they didn't have the strike that year. So Bobby Brett, the other brother, used to come all the time, and he used to call me every day. "How's Kemmer doing? How's Kemmer doing? What was the scores?" And it was wonderful. And one day I get a call, "How's Kemmer doing?" I'm like, "Good." I go, "Yeah, everything's cool. You know, I'm going on and on." And so he goes, okay, good talking to you. He goes, tell him his brother George says hi. And I was like, I couldn't even speak. It was like talking to George Brett. I was like, my heart was pounding. I was so excited to talk to George. I never talked to him before. And I loved him. He was one of my favorite ball players ever. And I was just so thrilled to talk to him. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So he sent me a really cool picture. It's on the wall at Tinies, that, with the silver bat. Remember that? With the sporting, what is it called?
Sporting News?
Thank
or
you.
Sports Illustrated?
Sports Illustrated. And he had the silver bat, and he signed that and sent that to me, so that's on the wall. That was so nice. And then in 86, 87, we were with Phillies. And then...
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, we were with the Phillies for 2 seasons.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's 86, 87?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then 88, we signed with the White Sox, and then stayed for the White Sox for 5 seasons, and then they had 2 years with the Red Sox. That was not good, but I wasn't with them then. 1990 had already come up, so I was unfortunately gone.
You went to the bar then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a decision I made.
You're really trying to do both at the same time, run the team and own the bar?
Why not?
Yeah?
Why
Did
not?
you sleep?
Well, I'm like, who needed sleep back then? Now I need sleep. Back then, you didn't need any sleep. But I will tell you one little story. I wanted to tell you this, okay, about baseball and jazz. Okay, baseball and jazz. So, I had to promote the games, okay, and maybe Ken Brett was kind of a draw and all that, but, we still had this one part of the season where it was 7 days on, and then we were away for 7 days. So I had 7 days that I had a home game, okay, and I had to do a 7-day promotional thing. So it was like promotion week. And I had this was a mistake, but we had dime beer night. And when we ran out of beer, they knocked the beer
Dime
trailer.
beer night,
Yeah, they knocked the beer trailer over. So you ran out of beer? Are you kidding? Yeah, well, 10-cent beer night. I mean, mistake.
Imagine that.
Packed the ballpark, though.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. Did you have to up security that night?
Who even thought about it? Like I said, they knocked over the beer box. So yeah. Yeah, it got a little out of hand, so we didn't have one of those anymore. That was the end of that. But so I had baseball and jazz. I had a jazz night that night. So one of the nights I had J.R. Montrose and Uncle Sal, and I forget who else. It was like a trio. And I had them behind the first base dugout, or behind the first base bleachers. And I had made a stage, okay? And it was right by the beer box. And, they were out there playing and everything. And, nobody came to watch them. One person came and sat down and ate their hot dog and walked away, And so after the end of the gig, which only lasted, an hour or so, a long hour, because nobody sat and watched them or listened to them, JR came over to me and said, he goes, jazz and baseball. He goes, nah. He goes, that don't work, Jojo. That don't work. And I go, okay, Jay, I promise. Someday I'll have you up on stage, blah, 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 And sure enough, when I got Tinies, the first thing I did besides being with the sports, my Uncle Sal Amico, and JR and Rick Montalbano and Jimmy Johns and Tommy Burgandy, we started a jazz night, Tinies Jazz Night, Tuesday nights. So, I mean, we were on the map. I mean, it was just like we were packed on Tuesday night. You couldn't get in the door.
Watch the microphone. Yeah.
I keep forgetting about that.
It's on you.
So it was like, it was so wonderful. And, I mean, so we weren't as big as we are now. We didn't have the back room then. We had just a little alcove in the back.
That's it?
Yeah.
So that's an expansion?
That little brick room,
Yeah.
that, if you're going through the rooms, the little brick room was just, that's where it ended. It wasn't even brick. It was even smaller than that. It was a little alcove. They used it for a storage room. Mm-hmm. We cleaned it out, and we put the band back there. It was like, a little stage. And 2 years later, we had built the addition, which is the big back room with the fireplace.
Got you. I did not know that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
So, we, like I said, we jammed them in there. But then again, it was all a different time, okay? You could drink, smoke, watch music, listen to music, enjoy yourself, on a Tuesday night without having to worry. We never had any problems. We never had a disruption. We never had anything bad, anything go wrong. It was that kind of a thing. It was just wonderful. Best I could tell you, it was wonderful. The music, who had jazz? Oh my gosh, everybody at the time, think about 30 years ago, okay, rushing to listen to some of the best jazz you're ever going to listen to, and local guys, okay? Mm-hmm. And with these guys, we then started to do other nights, like Saturday nights with other groups, okay? And the thing just blossomed into this wonderful, wonderful, it was like a wonderful 10-year, for 10 solid years we had that, because...
you were the only game in town doing the jazz thing.
And then other people tried it.
Yeah.
And they, and we were like, they're taking it away from us. But they did it.
Well, it's a weird market, to have multiple venues, because it's not really that much of a population that is into that genre of music.
Exactly. And we prevailed, not putting anybody down. Mm-hmm. But like you say, everybody's trying it because it was like such a hit.
Wow.
But it really was. It was because of the guys, because it was Tinies, because that's where they began. That's where they started. That's where the family was. I've known J.R. Montrose since I was, a little kid.
Yeah.
And I'm a child, okay, sitting on the cellar stairs, watching the guys play music down in my grandfather's cellar, and drinking the wine. Because Papa made wine, mm-hmm. So they'd be sipping the wine, smoking cigarettes, boop, 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 playing the music, and little kids watching them.
I think people don't realize all the jazz legends that have come out of Utica from back in the day. There's so many. You talk about, your Uncle Salamico was a jazz legend, and on top J.R. Montrose, and there's just so many. We could be here for hours talking about it.
Yeah, and they had, Birdland and all that down in Utica, down in the original back square, which now is the overpass to North Utica, but right down at
What was Birdland?
Birdland was a bar, a jazz bar down at that end. Okay, so if you knew Genesee Street, if you're looking under the archives there, you'll see like John Street and Genesee Street come down to a point, and then that's back. I think it's John Street, and then that's formed back square down there. Okay, and I mean, downtown went all the way down to that area, and then you had all these big buildings with the newspapers, the Globe Press, and then you had store, and bar, store. That's how it was. I mean. And down in that end, okay, which now would be where Utica
Coffee is.
Yeah, exactly. Down there, you look and a little bit beyond, okay.
Commercial Travelers and where the bridge is and the overpass and stuff.
There was big buildings down there, and there was all these neat bars. And Birdland was down in there near where Utica Coffee is. Okay, it could have even been in that bunch of I could just see it, in my mind's eye like a million years ago, but. That's about where it was. And there was other places, okay? And they all did jazz, okay? There was all clubs. Club George, the old Club George on Riskin Boulevard there. I mean...
Which is legendary. That was part of the Chitlin circuit.
Them guys from Club George, 30 years ago, they would always come to Uncle Sal's jazz stuff, okay? And Jay's jazz stuff. They always came up. Always came up.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like so many legends played Club George. People don't even realize how popular that place was and legendary right here in Utica.
Because so much is knocked down there. I mean, some of the buildings are gone and everything. So you can't say, well, it was here and there, and where this place is now used to be. That, and it's unfortunate because that was jam-packed full of history.
Yeah. And
of course, urban renewal, big ball came down and knocked it all down and.
Damn you, urban renewal.
Ruined it all. When I was in college, we used to go downtown and hang out because we could drink at 18. Of course, we were 17. No, but really, there was a million places to go. Mm-hmm. Next thing you know, urban renewal, all gone.
But these musicians had a lot of work, too, because there was many venues to play at.
There was many venues to play at. Nowadays, it's a little more difficult because of...
difficult.
Well, you know music. You know how it is, okay? How much it costs. Bottom line is cost, and then you've got to pay all the ASCAP and BMI and all that other baloney, and it just goes on. And you really can't pay a musician enough anymore because they're so gifted and there's so much... and and how much can you charge people to come in? And it's different. It's all different now.
Does it make you a little bitter?
It makes me very sad.
Yeah.
I've changed a lot. I don't get real upset and crazy anymore like I used to.
Mm-hmm.
I
Well, that's
did.
because you were passionate about it.
I used to be so
And maybe you've lost that passion for it.
You lose it because it's not there anymore. You can still have the passion, but you can't bring it back.
Yeah.
So you bring back as much of it as you can and hope the people that still want to see it or remember it or just want to see it for the first time maybe, but hope that they come.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't have it as a steady diet. There just isn't that kind of population anymore. Look, when you go to New York City and you find, Sweet Basil's closed, and this one, all these Birdland, everybody's closed down there.
Yeah.
What does that tell you? You're talking about a New York City population. You're not going to sustain it up here in this area. It's not. Once in a while, yes, but not as a steady diet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame, especially and now COVID, that doesn't help any. And are you planning like an exit strategy? Maybe.
Read it in my book.
All right. Speaking of book, and we got a couple people checking in on Facebook right now. And if you are watching on Facebook, please click the share button. Help spread the word of Tinies, which she has a whole concert going on really soon. Is it this weekend, right? You have a show on Saturday?
22nd.
Oh, it's the 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
May 22nd, tribute to Salamico, which is your uncle, and J.R. Montross, which should be interesting. But it's sold out, right?
It is sold out as we speak. If there's going to be any tickets available, you could check the website, check the Facebook page on Tinies. If there's any tickets available, right at this moment, we're sold out.
Okay. Check Facebook or something,
Just
right?
continue to check if you're interested, because if tickets do come available, we will let you know immediately.
So Devin Mahoney from the Uptown Theater says the 1983 Blue Sox is such a great story. He's writing a screenplay about it, and he's telling you to write a book about it. Maybe you guys need to collaborate.
I've met him, and he's a sweetheart, and I am yours, so just let me know.
And he's saying baseball and jazz would be a great name for the book.
Oh my gosh, I was looking for a title.
Yeah, there you go. It's right here. Robin's checking in. Hi, Robin. She's saying you're her mentor and the neighbor, and she misses you, and see you soon.
I appreciate that, Robin. It's right back at you. I love you, and I hope to see you soon also.
You do need to write a book, though. You do. And Devin, I'll see you tomorrow night. He's coming on the Uncle Louie Variety Show tomorrow night, so I'm looking forward to that. And the whole improv thing that he's got going on, I love it. And I want to take classes with him. So, Devin, we need to, we'll talk tomorrow for sure.
Great.
Yeah. I want to get that theater open and get some action over there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Damn COVID. But soon it'll happen, Let the universe take its course.
Yes.
And make it happen. Jojo, give me a good pinch me moment in your career. You've had this great career with baseball and music and everything. Give me a couple pinch me moments. Like, I can't believe my career has brought me to this moment right here. I can't believe I'm like talking to this person or that person.
Oh, well, in baseball, I was pretty hot stuff. I was this, this young woman, female GM, okay? And so I, go to the winter meetings, which, there's all the big shots are there and some very big players are there. And, I remember being introduced to Billy Martin, and the thing was I was with my owner, and he goes, you want to meet Billy? And I said, well, yeah, absolutely. So, we walk over, and I'm all dressed up and everything. And Billy's over there with a bunch of guys, and he was telling this bad story. He was telling a dirty story. And so my owner taps him on the shoulder. He goes, Billy, I want you to meet my GM. And Billy Martin turns around, and he looks at me because my GM, he's thinking it's a guy, and he sees it's me. He turned as red as those little red numbers are on that screen. He turned fuchsia red. He was like, oh, hell. And he looked up at me because I had my high heels on. Oh, hello. It's very nice to meet you. I go, it's nice to meet you too, Bob. Billy, get back to your story. It's okay. But I embarrassed the heck out of him, and that was so funny. Here I was all thrilled to meet Billy Martin, and he's got embarrassed because I was a female. But anyhow, that was a cute moment. That was. I remember when I met Tommy Lasorda. We were at the winter meetings, and at the winter meetings, the media would have a baseball game every year. The American League writers and the National League writers would always have a softball game. At the winter meetings every year, we'd go to a field, and
Wow, interesting.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, the media game. Oh yeah, every year. And I had so many friends in the media at the time. Tons of them. So there I was sitting behind the backstop at the. We were in Hollywood, Florida, and I'm sitting behind the backstop of this at this game. Okay, and Tommy Lasorda was the umpire. Okay, so he's the home plate umpire, and I had on my Utica visor and everything, and so. Anyhow, I was sitting there, and Tom Lasorda said, "Okay." He goes, "It's to say strike one," and his pants split all the way up, and his pants split. So Tommy puts his hand over his split and turns around, and there I am sitting right there. "Hi, Tommy," and that's how I met Tommy Lasorda, and we laughed and we laughed, and so So afterwards, he saw me in the lobby, and I had my Utica visor on, and he goes, and I said, "Hi, Tommy," and he was like, he was gracious, but I don't know.
That's hysterical.
Baseball, I mean. I met Yogi Berra going on an elevator, and the elevator big thing, the sign, the symbol lit up green with the arrow going up, and he said, "We're not going down, are we?" I go, "Nope." I said, "Nope." So I rode the elevator. Didn't even know what to say to the guy. I rode the elevator with Yogi. I was like, well, excited, and meeting those people, and there's a ton more I met. They're very exciting, and. I've had a lot of those moments. I've had more than most, and I, embrace every one of them. They've all been special.
Blessed life.
I've worked hard.
Mm-hmm. You did.
I've worked hard.
And you're still working hard.
And when you brought up about the, being the only female and all that, that was not easy.
I can imagine.
I talk to girls now that are in sports, and they don't blow it off, but I don't think they realize just how bad it was, okay? I tell them some stories. I don't think they believe me, because that's how, I did go through a lot. And I don't know, I wasn't able to share it with anybody, because I really didn't know anybody else that was doing that. But, I was always fighting and struggling and fighting and struggling. So, but I put down those gloves now, and I hope so after all this time. But it was, people like me did have to fight very hard to get where they got to, and it wasn't easy. But I'm really glad that they're prevailing now. I mean, I still got to get used to listening to a woman sportscaster, because I was brought up with guy sportscaster and all that. So I think it's wonderful. I think it's wonderful to listen to them, that they know they're so knowledgeable of the game and everything. It's just like very enjoyable. It's when you got to have it up here, guy or girl. You just have to have it up here, mm-hmm. and that makes you the best. So when you do have it and you are the best, you should be where you're at. And I'm so glad that we've made it that far.
Do you think your Utica upbringing made you have the thick skin and be able to blow off some of the
I'm a Sicilian Calabrese. I'm a Sicilian Calabrese.
Yeah,
okay?
right.
We weren't brought up, rich. My father drove a bread truck. I mean, afterwards he had his own business, but, I was grown up by that time. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
up tough.
But we were all happy.
Yeah.
It was tough. It was a struggle, but we didn't care, because we were happy. We had good bringing up. We had good parents that worked hard, and grandparents and relatives and friends. I mean, my neighborhood was Italians, and it was Polish across the street, Italians on one side, Polish were on the other side. So we kind of,
Where did you grow up?
Jefferson Ave.
Jefferson Ave?
Right across the street from St. Stanislaus Church.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. No, is that still there?
The church?
Yeah.
It is, but I don't know who has it now. I know they've sold the building and everything.
Have they really?
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable. Mm-hmm. And then, so what about music? Give me a good music pinch me moment. I'm sure you have a couple of those.
Well, my whole dream when we had jazz, my whole life, I loved Chuck Mangione. Okay, he was it.
Rochester.
And I said, you know what? I got a jazz club here, and I said to Uncle Sal, I go, do you think that there's any chance I can ever get Chuck Mangione to come here? He goes, well, yeah, maybe you can. You probably can. He goes, well, we'll work on it. Well, okay, so they're working on it, and it was. I took a fall down the stairs at my place, and I had to get neck surgery and I had to go to Philadelphia to get it because in 1994 there was no one around here. And so anyhow, I'm down in Philadelphia getting neck surgery, and the same day as Chuck, me, and Joan is coming to Tinies. They finally got him to come to Tinies, and it was on the same day I had my surgery
and you couldn't
in Philadelphia. I couldn't be there. But just listen to what they did. They called my room from the stage. So Chuck talked to me. I'm in my room. They're holding up the phone to my ear, okay? And it's Chuck, me, and Joan. And he's like, "Hi, Jojo." And you hear everybody clapping and at Tinies and everything. And he says, what would you like to hear me play? And I said, Land of Make Believe. Bum, 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 bum. So he blew that in the phone, and that was quite a moment. Yeah, isn't that cool?
Bummer you couldn't be there though, but you manifested it and you made it happen.
Yeah, I met him afterwards. He came back.
Did he?
Yeah, oh yeah, and yeah, it was great. It was great.
Shut that off. I have people know that I do the show at 3:00, but they still decide to call me. Yeah, they still want to call.
And we had big shows with like Maynard Ferguson. Look at those shows. We had him 5 times. He came to Utica. Mm-hmm. I remember when I picked him up at the hotel, and I was driving him in the van, driving him down to the Tinies, and we passed by. We were going up State Street, and he looked. He goes, "Oh, that's the club," and I go, "Yeah," and I was like, so park, get him out. He walks in. We had 150 people in there. 100 sitting down, 50 in the bar. And he walked in, and he couldn't believe his eyes. And when he got to the stage, he turned around and said, when I came by this place, I didn't think much of it. He goes, "I can't believe this." And he went crazy. Really? He had 14 guys with him when he played there, okay? It was we had these shows. We had 2 shows a night, okay? I think it was like, at the time, it was like $20 a ticket. And we would, had the first show was a dinner show, and then we'd clear the whole place out and bring in the next show. And it would be on a Sunday when they were passing through. And what a time that was. Oh, big time. We all had our tuxedos on and everything. Jazz was unbelievable.
My favorite time at Tinies is around Christmas time. It's a tradition for me and like all our friends, because we get together at Tinies for the Amico Brady Quintet or whatever jazz kind of ensemble they put together. Let everybody know that Vinny Amico, who's a great friend of mine, is cousins with Jojo from the band Mo. Vinny Amico and Jojo are first cousins. So every year she opens the doors to all the morons.
They're great time.
We have such a great time, and it's turned into a tradition. Now, how long has that event been going on for? It's like 10 years now, right? More than that.
It's 14, I think.
Is it really? 14 years.
Yeah.
And we look forward to that every year. You see friends that you haven't seen in a long time. And so hopefully maybe we could do that again this holiday season.
I hope so. And I'll make sure I stock up on the Utica Club, because that's what everybody drinks. And it is so much fun. It's Christmas time, and it's just a holiday tradition. And everyone has had such a great, and looks forward to that. Are you having the gig, and hopefully we will have it this year. Yes, hopefully. My mom's checking and wants to know where you came up with the name Tinies. I didn't. You didn't? The original owner, who was Tiny Woollock, his last name is Woollock, and Tiny was the original owner of Tinies in 1931, and it was down by where the auditorium is now. That's where the original Tinies was, really? Okay, Oriskany Circle, or Whitesboro Circle, rather. And when they came to build, the land was sold and all that, because the arterial went in, and then they're putting the auditorium in. Tiny moved up to where it is now, and that was the old Oneida Grill. So that was the original Oneida Grill where we are now. And so he came up in, I'd say, I still don't know if it's 59, 60, 61, but in there, he moved up to where Tiny's is now. On State Street. Yes. Mm-hmm. And so it was always Tiny's Grill. And I tried to keep the old sign, the original sign, the Tiny's Grill sign, but when we took it down to repair it, it basically disintegrated. So we just put the Tiny's up to kind of update, and but that's where the name came from Tiny Woollock. So you just kept the original owner. Right on. And you still have the Blues Brothers up there too, right? You bet. Where'd they come from? Well, one day this guy kept calling the restaurant, okay? "Oh, I got something you might really be interested in." And, this was like, how many years ago is this? 25 years ago or 20, and it's like, it was in the 90s. It was like 1997 or something like that, or 96. And he kept calling and saying he had something he wanted me to see, and, could I come out to Herkimer to his place? And I'm like, pal, I don't, what do you have, And he just wouldn't tell me. So one day I see this van pull up on the side of Mandeville Street, and so I looked out the window. I see this van pull up, and the guy opens up the doors. He starts bringing out these statues. So I run out, and this guy that owned this business down in Herkimer, I believe it was, and he had these Blues Brothers statues, and he brought them out, put them on the street. He goes, "What do you think?" I go, "I want them." And he said, "Okay." I go, "Are you the guy that kept calling me? Why did you tell me what you had?" He goes, "No, I had to show you. That's why I wanted you to come down and see it." And these statues were not, you see them now in a lot of places. Back then, you really didn't see those things.
Right.
And I bought them on the spot. Boom. And we used to have them outside before we had the front porch and everything. And we used to leave them right outside the door, and we'd have to take them in and out. Every night we'd have to take them in and pull them out of the cement, and during the day we'd put them in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so finally we built the platforms and we put them up on top.
Yeah.
And people were like looking for the statues.
It's kind of like a landmark.
Well, we had to put a big sign up there, look up. And we would watch the people, like, they were looking for the Blues Brothers. They see the sign, look up, they look up, this went on for months, but it was so much fun. They loved it.
Awesome. Talk about this show that's coming up on the 22nd.
The show on the 22nd is going to be a jazz tribute concert. And the jazz tribute concert is going to be tribute to J.R. Montrose, local
Legend.
And worldwide musician, sax player, and my Uncle Sal Amico, local legend, worldwide musician, and flugelhorn, trumpet flugelhorn player. And you don't hear too many flugels. So I just knew Chuck Mangione and my uncle. Those are the two flugel players I knew. The group that's coming up, the musicians that are coming up, it's not a group, it's just, individual musicians that are coming up are Tom Burgandy is going to be on bass, and he is one of our original players that played at Tinies from the beginning, okay? And Joe Magnarelli, who's a trumpeter, he was Uncle Sal's student and has played at Tinies since the beginning. There will be Joe Corello, he's from Syracuse, sax, renowned saxophone player, okay, and there will be Jimmy Johns will be on drums. Jimmy's another local who's been another Tinies person forever and ever, and he'll be there. He plays drums, and we have Dino, I can't remember his last name, I apologize, but he'll be playing the keys, and that's going to be our quintet. And also, I want to make sure that I recognize Leonardo Priori, who is the co-founder of and president of the Chelsea Opera Group. Chelsea Opera is an organization. It's an opera company, and they have shows all over New York City, all over, and they'll be doing. They've done shows here in Utica. They've done the Jazz Nativity at Mount Carmel Church over the past few years, which has been unbelievable show. And anyhow, Lee and I worked together on this, and Lee helped put this together. As a matter of fact, she got all the musicians together for this event. She said, let's do one at Tinies, let's get it going again. And I said, Lee, absolutely. She's a wonderful person. She's a native Utican. She's moved from New York City back here. She's living in Syracuse. And I just want to give a shout out to her and let you know that she is a huge and integral part of this whole event that's going to happen.
Whose idea was this?
Actually, Lee contacted me. Well, we've been in contact with each other over the years, and with the Jazz Nativity at Mount Carmel and everything. And we actually sang a Neighborhood Center Girls Choir together. Oh. She became an opera star, and really, literally, she's an opera star. And so we've known each other since kids. But she said to me, since she moves back, you want to get something going, and I said absolutely. And this is pre-COVID, so we've had to work our magic through this whole thing, and and that's what's come of it. And we're hoping that we can continue, and we will continue to bring other events in, and hopefully things will just get bigger and better.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else coming you'd like to promote?
I don't.
No?
But thanks for asking.
Well, you're doing lunch all the time too, right? Or-
Well, we're open. Tinies is open now on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We open Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 4 o'clock. We open on Friday at 11:30.
Okay.
So we are there. We are. We have our menu, you know, our traditional stuff, and we have some other very good specials. So we're there. We're open. We have a back patio that's open, hopefully, between the raindrops and the cold weather when the sun shines. So we've got that all brand new furniture out in back, and that's going to be nice. And if not, you're inside with the fireplace going, so you'll be comfortable anyway anytime you come in there.
Is everything on the menu old family recipes?
Well, Tinies was always famous for the kielbasa and hot pepper sandwich, and I brought you some hot peppers.
Yes, you did. Thank you, by the way.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Yeah, long hots. So we do have that. We do have the Limburger cheese. We do have, you know, those. We have our fish fry, which is famous. Okay, and we also have really famous Reubens. Okay, people come out for the. I mean, it's just the best because you know I get the corned beefs and I boil them down and then we cut them and you know so it's really good stuff. So we have that, and then we have everything. We got chicken parm, and we've got today we got lumpkin pierogi, and you know we just have tons of stuff. You know but all my soups, I make all the soups. They're all homemade. At the chowders, all of our recipes, all of our sauce, I make. I just made 5 gallons of sauce the other day. So anything you get there is fresh. It's homemade. And the only thing I don't home make is the, you know, like chicken wings and,
Yeah.
you know, and the you know, those little fried things we don't make. But everything else is all homemade, handmade, and you're getting really good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
And our prices are really good, too.
No, I peeked my head back in the kitchen one time, and it just smelled like my grandmother's kitchen.
There you go.
That's why I felt like like a lot of those, what's on the menu might be some of your family recipes. So.
And Uncle Sal, with the chicken riggies, he taught me how to do the. Uncle Sal put a cookbook out, and he's got like these great recipes, and I'm going to try to be serving them on the jazz nights. So
awesome.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, and Cousin Vinny's, he's known for his chicken riggies throughout the Mo community. And I don't know, I think I see it on Facebook at least once, twice a week. Like, hey, Vinny, can you give me a recipe? You know, and he does his little cooking show and stuff.
And
he's killing it.
He is killing it. He's great. I mean,
He is.
He is. He's fantastic.
Man
My
can
little
cook.
baby cousin, I used to.
Did you babysit him?
I babysit the kids. Oh, you can't.
Did you ever give him a scarf when he was younger?
Well, you know what? I had this little red Volkswagen, okay? And I was babysitting for Vinny and his brother Matt, okay? Then my brother Rock, okay? And then the 3 Lapola girls. So I had 6 kids, okay, in my car all the time, all right? These little kids, they all fit in the Volkswagen. We stuffed them in the back, you know, in the little cubby hole. And I'd bring them all to all these places and everything. We had all the biggest adventures you would not believe. The stuff. Yeah, and I did. I used to have to. We were good kids, though. I gotta admit, we used to have so much fun.
You got to be a proud cousin, though, to watch his career and watch what he's done with the band and everything.
Well, you know, he used to be tapping on the, you know, the practice.
Was he an antsy one?
Oh yeah, well, you know, Ben. He's always moving.
So he's always been antsy.
always. But he's just, you know, he had that beat. He was, you know, he had it when he was a little kid. I said, this kid's going to be a musician, you know, and you know, we couldn't be any closer. I mean, really, my Uncle Sal was my best friend. He was my, you know, not that he was in Utica a lot because he was always playing, but you know, always. And I slept in his room at the house. I mean, that was his bedroom turned into my bedroom afterwards. I mean, you know, and so Uncle Sal and you know, and then the kids. I watched the kids grow up with the kids. You know, and Greg. So there's, you know, his oldest son, Greg, in California, and we're just a great family. And the same like with Jay. You know, it's like in his family, a lot of his who's left here because a lot of people had passed away. I mean, so many people are gone. You know, so it's going to be fun to have the Miko family representation there, and it's going to be fun to have the Montrose Knoll family represented there.
Well, you know the saying goes, legends never die.
No, they sure don't.
Never do. And it's cool that you can pay tribute to them years and years later and hopefully keep these traditions going for years and years later. Got to pass them down, JoJo.
You bet, my friend. And you know what? And you are wonderful. What you do, this has been a joy, okay? But we always have so much fun together.
Yeah, totally.
This is terrific. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time and coming to hang out. I've been wanting to do this for a while. We should do this again. And please use my platform. If you have anything coming up, please, this is what it's for.
Okay.
I want to promote. So, let's use the platform, and we always have great conversations. I'm sure we didn't even scratch the surface on a lot of things. We didn't even talk about the hockey.
Oh, my gosh.
There's a whole nother you could go into Tinies right now and you could spend an hour just looking at the walls of all the history that you got going on. And that's what I love about Tinies so much. It's like a shrine over there, and you're paying tribute to like the old Stars and the Comets and all that, and then the baseball side of things. I mean, it's absolutely amazing, and it's so good that you could walk into Tinies and just walk into history a little bit,
Thank you.
And it's refreshing. It
Thank
is.
you.
And it brings me back to being a little kid too. My grandfather was the organist at the Stars games and the Comets games back at the Odd, and then always. And I sat there as a little kid on top of that organ, right up in the top corner
No
as
kidding.
a little kid. Yeah, for
my
every freaking game for
Really?
years and years and years. So a lot of that. I mean, looking at the walls and you see guys like Dick Popeil on the wall and Brian Gustafson. Like I looked up to these guys, and Ed Smith and all these great hockey players from back in the day. Those guys were legends in my eyes. So
Yes, they
and then
were.
when I go to Tinies and look on the wall, I'm just like it brings me back,
That's
and
good.
it's great, and that's why I love coming there, and that's why I love celebrating the holidays there.
Thank you.
And all the friends come there. So hopefully we get that going on this year. And yes, I got a lot of love for you, JoJo. So
I love
please
you too, hon.
use the platform, and thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you to my EJA Moving Services, attorney Dave Longaretta, Utica Coffee, Saranac Brewery, and Joey's at 307. If not for the sponsors, this podcast is not possible. So thank you so much to those guys for helping us out. Tomorrow I'll be back with the Uncle Louie Variety Show, 8 o'clock, members only. And then on Friday, we've got Hold the Sarcasm podcast coming out right around noon or whatever it comes out. But thank you so much for listening. Click the share button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I'll see you tomorrow.